All right, good afternoon. Welcome to C&T Collectibles. Today we're going to do some 3 up and 3 down, where we look at the 3 hottest baseball cards over the past week and 3 of the laggards in very Josh Hader-like fashion. 3 up, 3 down. That's what he does.
Well, I do not know of that, but I guess so.
Well, 3 batters up, and then he sets them all right down. Strikes them out, right?
I mean, Josh Hader does do that.
He does do that.
But I don't like it.
Well, you don't have to face him very often. He's in a different league altogether. So, and you don't have to face him, period. So I'd feel bad for like Miguel Sano or those or our twins that have to face him. So, anyways, let's get into it here. So we've got 3 of the risers. We actually have 4 risers this week, 4 risers this week. One of the cards was kind of interesting, but we're going to start with our fallers. And the number 3 faller for the week is the 1987 Topps Barry Bonds in a PSA 10. This card is down 35% for the week, and really all it took was one sale to do that. So if we have 212, we'll go back into this area here. What's today? The 15th?
15th.
So there hasn't been one sold in a few days here. So it's going to go back to this sale, and you can see that it went from a high of around what is that? $480.
Yep, about so.
Down to
$316.
So we like to stretch things out just a little bit and take a
And
look at the all-time.
is...
Yeah, and this was fairly predictable. So you have kind of this basing pattern in a breakout, and then again you're going to retrace some of that, and then you have it again, and then someone bought up here. And so do you know why we don't like to buy the price spikes, Tom?
Because you don't want to pay a lot of money?
There's that. That's the big reason. Exactly. When you have these spikes, you just have 1 or 2 sales usually. Look how many people bought in here. A lot of people, right?
But more people bought, like, down in, like...
Correct. And so what happens is when you have these purchases up here where you just have 1 or 2 people, all it takes is a couple of these people to say, whoa, I bought this for $150 and I've tripled my money. What if 2 or 3 of these people come in? Which they did. They started, throwing their started putting their cards up for sale. That's going to overwhelm the number of people that wanted to buy here, and this is why you see these collapses. So it's a little too much too quick. Usually retraces, a good amount of this run here, and then if you start to see a number of buys in this area, then you know that people are willing to pay that price. So that's why we don't buy these spikes, because it's too easy. One person believes that's the price, and 100 people believe this is the price. It's too easy to overwhelm that one person and send that price back down.
So I basically just said what you said, but less complicated.
Let's go with that. You probably did. So you usually do. All right, our number 3, it's actually our number 4 riser for the week. And
this is Ken Griffey.
Ken Griffey Jr. Yeah, so his cards are absolutely on fire. His 89 upper deck is around $5,000 now, and I think you have people starting to look at some of these other variations. And this is actually probably a tougher card to get in a high grade because of those borders, those dark borders there. So,
but the whole thing is basically just a kind of hills.
Yeah. So that's why we kind of stretch it out. So his card's up 100% in the last week here. So you can go back to this area here. We'll bring it up just a little bit, and 14 to kind of right in here. So there's been a few buys in this area here. So you have this pop, and then a few people are buying in that area here. So go out to the all-time.
And
still
kind of like Barry Bonds, it has that it goes up a little, and then there's like another.
Then you had your pullback, and then up here. So if you can see some sustained buying in this area here, then this is certainly the price. Now this is a $100 card. Okay, so. That's a PSA 9, excuse me. The 10's probably something crazy here, but still a hard card to
The
get in
10's
that
probably
thing.
almost $200. If the 9's like about
Let's
120.
find out. Since we're here, we can certainly do that. So yeah, he is at let's see, $1,200, and so it's coming off. So it's kind of the same deal here. So let's go back to what we were looking at. And
Wait,
that is the 9.
1,000? I was not even close.
Exactly. So 10-to-1 ratio, that's fine. So yeah, so you had this pullback, and then you had this monster spike, and it wouldn't surprise me to see this come back into this area here. Again, just a few people. Now, if you see a bunch of people start to buy in here, then that's the price. And honestly, for $100 for Ken Griffey Jr. is probably not a bad price. So it wouldn't surprise me to see a bunch of people saying, you know what, $60, $80, $100, $120. What's the big deal? And it's a nice problem to have there, but so if a bunch of people step in here, then maybe that's the price. But if it came back in a little bit, that wouldn't surprise me at all here. But fewer and fewer buyers in this area, and people in here that want to sell, they could overwhelm that really quickly and drop those prices back down. So wanted to show off Ken Griffey Jr. even though he's number 4. So our real number 3 is Carl Yastrzemski. His friends call him Yaz. And his grandson is
microchemistry.
Very good, very good.
Who plays for the Giants now?
Correct. So, it started out with the Orioles. So, over the last week, these cards are up 108% here. So, they don't come up terribly often. This is the PSA 8. And you
Only
have this
3 sales from like 2,000 to about 500.
Well, yeah.
Like,
yeah. 2,000 to 3,000 to 6,000. So in percentage terms, this thing has just been a beast as of late here. But yeah, it doesn't come up terribly often. So perhaps that's part of the reason why these things are going up so much, because it doesn't happen very often. But that might be too much too quick. So
just one sale to make it from
just takes one person.
One sale from about 3,000 to 6,000.
Exactly. So if we get a couple people in here saying, "Whoa, I'm gonna sell my card and try and get that price," then these prices will come back down here. So are enough people willing to step in at that price? I doubt it. But again, you had this this big pop, and then it came back down to this reference point here and kind of rounded out, which is healthy. Then on this breakout level here, you started to see pops and come back, and then there's too much. So yes, this.
If whoever bought it at 6,000 liked the moon, I guess, but they
to the moon.
But they had too much fun in the moon.
Yeah, they had a lot of fun here. A lot of helium, very little gravity here, taking this one up. So yeah, we'll see how this one turns out. But my guess is not good.
In their rocket ship.
Not good. Probably not good.
So if we came back into this area, they had way too much fun going to space, and they had way too much fun on space. So they accidentally bought it at like $6,000.
There we go. Let's just say that they're really high. All right, so let's move on to our number two decliner for the week, and this is Rafi Devers. Sorry, take it from here. Rafi Devers down 36%.
He lost one of his best players on his team, so that makes sense.
What's that? Mookie?
Yeah, Mookie.
That was a year ago. We're past that now, so Verdugo looks good, man. He's no Mookie. Don't get me wrong here. So
yeah, but Rafael Devers and Mookie were just an unstoppable duo.
He got his old coach back. So so Cora, I think he was hitting well under him. Maybe he can do it again here. So you had this sale here for $48, and then it popped up, and then it came back. So I think if we take if we stretch this out a little bit, you can see why these prices. Now this isn't heavily bought or sold in the first place here. So
he's having a lot of volume in that because he actually had Mookie in that.
Well, the market as a whole went nuts here. Everything kind of went, and now you're starting to kind of see things sort out. People want the Hall of Famers, and then there's a speculation. So you're starting to see a widening. That's why you see the Griffeys and the Trouts and all that go nuts, and Mookie Betts and a lot of these other guys are kind of staying, in that $40, $50, $60, $80 level because they've got a lot more to prove. But yeah, so again, you had this spike. We've seen this before. Big move up, bring it back down, up, down, and then you kind of the spacing pattern here. So you had a big spike up, and it's coming back down to this area here. So
kind of like it's just repeating itself, just going up, down,
correct.
Up, down.
Don't buy the spikes, but $60 down to 40. Again, it's not the biggest deal in the world. Someone just hit a buy, and I just wanted to be done with it and get the card. But yeah, we do like this area here. There's been a decent amount of buying, and we'll see if it drops down a little bit further. But I like Rafi Devers, and I think he has a good season. This is probably a good price for that card.
Or like the whole entire card, it could go up again on that.
It certainly could. It's if one more buyer comes in and there's a $50 buy it now, and you just buy it there, then this card goes up, decently. That's 20%, or really quickly, 25% almost. So. All right, we'll go to our
Mickey Mantle.
Our number two riser for the week.
One sale takes it from 800 to 1600.
Doesn't take much. Yeah, he's up 112% for the week. So you basically had this to that.
Mickey Mantle is one of the best players on the Yankees ever.
You're correct.
Number one is Babe Ruth, for sure. No doubt.
Yeah. I don't think you'll get a lot of argument on that one.
Or Lou Gehrig.
One of the greatest all time, of course. And so, again, people just kind of gravitating towards those. You see this a lot in the early 80s rookies and stuff like that. The Tony Gwynn and Sandberg and Ripken. A lot of those are good. People just want the Hall of Fame. If you're going to start spending a lot of money on cards, you want these things to hold their value. And you do that with Hall of Famers or players that are in the news for one reason or another. Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds, another reason. But, the Hall of Fame... The Hall of Fame players, and this is what we try and do, is who's on that track or who's in, and they're doing well, and rightfully so. They're going to hold their value for a long period of time.
All time, he has that big rocket ship where people like that space.
Yeah, so this is
I like the moon, too.
This is a card that doesn't come up very often. You can see 2021, going back, there's not a ton of sales on a relatively speaking, so it had a really long... it was kind of in a range bound for a really long time, and they started to break out, and you started to see spikes, and they come back in, and then with this one, again, unless you see a lot of people saying, I'm willing to spend $1,500 for this card, You'll have the people that bought it here. Geez, he's bought it for $200 or $300. I'll go ahead and sell it, and if you get a couple of those people in here, then this thing's coming back down to earth.
This card, these prices have been, these buys have been going on since 2004. It says.
Well, this is. Yeah, they've been going on longer than that. So there's a couple things here. I'd have to do more digging. Is this when PSA started? I don't know. I mean, there's been grading well before that, but PSA data, or is this as far back as the eBay data goes that Card Ladder uses? So there's a number of reasons for that where it's all 2004, but we don't need that. We don't need a total history just to kind of see that this is this was fairly decent rise, but this is nuts. So
I wasn't even born in 2004.
That is correct. So all right, our number one faller for the week. I was
born like almost a decade after that.
Correct, almost. And our number one faller for the week
is Cody Bellinger.
The belly bomb, down 40% on the week.
He's usually a riser.
Not really. We looked at him last week. This is the PSA 9. We looked at this PSA 10 last week, and it was at a point where you had kind of your levels, and it kept bouncing on that level. Remember?
Oh yeah.
Maybe we can edit it in. Maybe I'll edit it and throw that real quick here. But it was at that thing, so it's like, okay, if it breaks out, you're good to go. But it was at a point where it's like there's been people that have been selling there in the past here, so you're seeing it again. Now, the one thing that we did like between the PSA 9 and the PSA 10 is the PSA 10 was going for around $250, and the 9 is around $32. Very, very cheap relative.
It's basically like you're climbing up the slide, but then you go down the slide.
But just if you look at that 3-to-1 ratio between 9 and 10, the PSA 9 should probably be closer to a, if you're looking at $250, $70 or $80 card. So I think there's a lot of upside to the PSA 9 should he start, having a good year. I think I'll look at some in this one. So yeah, you can look at the all time, and had that pop. Now it's coming back into a level where there's been a pretty decent amount of buying. So I don't think there's a whole lot of downside, and I think I'd be looking for decent upside, especially if Cody Bellinger, again, every other year he's awesome. 2017
was a monster year.
It was a very big year. 2018, 2019 was an MVP level. 2020, not so great. And then 2021. So I think this is you never know. But maybe this is the year you buy Cody Bellinger.
We'll know in about 3-4 months.
This price here would imply a $90 to $100 PSA 10, and we know that's not the case. So that PSA 9, I think you could see some decent upside on that particular name. All right, our number one riser for the week
is not Ozzy Albies. Ronald Acuna.
Ronald Acuna, yes.
Same team.
The same team, exactly. An excellent player in his own right here. So yeah, we'll go back to this. You have to go back to this sale here. This is too far back. So
we've had a lot of one. We've had a couple rocket ships. We've had a slide, and here is Ocean Waves.
PSA 9 from $12 to $33 for a 190% return over.
Here's the Ocean Waves because they look like really big waves.
Just rolling. So big gain here from that $12 level up to that $33 level. So up a couple 100% here if we go back all time.
That is just monster level.
It is. There's a lot of
up and down
on this one here. So pretty clear uptrend here, and then it broke down, and then pretty clear uptrend. Now it broke down. So this was, I don't know what happened here.
It just went down to $11.
If maybe it was an auction that ended at like 3 a.m. on a Wednesday, just some weird time or something like that. But someone got advantage, and it came back to its natural level here now
at about like $30.
Exactly. So it's a the heritage cards. I think it's a nice card to have. You're starting to see this in like Mookie Betts and all that kind of stuff, where the base cards are going really nuts, so people are looking for those alternative cards. So the Bowman Best, the Heritage, all that kind of stuff.
That's a Heritage one right there.
Correct. So people are starting to go to these and push these prices up. So this is, again, if this thing goes up to $40, between $32 and $40 isn't really a big deal. So we'll see how that kind of plays itself out. This is a good card to have. I think Ronald Acuna with a healthy season, I mean, that could be a top 3 guy in the NL overall. So if you don't have a Heritage card, this is probably one to kind of scope out.
Because it's only about $35.
Exactly. So we'll see what is.
But here's
just
the
for
PSA
fun.
10.
You can look at the high grade example is making new highs. So
at about like 120.
Exactly. So those people want the high grade examples. I mean, when you're looking at a card that's $30 relative to something that's $100, you get the high grade. This isn't in really an area where it's unaffordable by any stretch. So I think you still have buyers in there too. So what you do see a lot of divergence in the 910 at this level. Now when cards get up to like $1,000, people will start to go for the little bit lower grade, but in this level, people will kind of go for that higher grade.
When it gets up to $1,000, people usually sometimes like to go to the moon and buy it up there.
Well,
or they are smart and they wait until it goes down.
If it goes to $1,000, then you see people really start to flock to that PSA 9. At $100, people will still go for the PSA 10. But at $1,000, then they'll say, that's too much for a card for some people, and that PSA 9 is a lot more attractive, and you start to see that 3-to-1 relationship really solidify. But for now, the PSA 10 is kind of ramping. So I think that's where you could see, that PSA 9. So the 10's really doing well. So the 9, this is why you have that kind of that snapback. Maybe it should be upwards of a $30 to $40 card, and then it got back to that level pretty quickly. So we'll just count that as some sort of weird auction related something, and
something.
Call it a week here. So hey, that's what I got. That's what you got.
And that's what we got.
That's what we got. Have a great week. And we'll be back tomorrow, a little mail day Wednesday. We'll start, we're going to start doing our rankings for 2021 by position. And so we'll put that together Wednesday or Thursday, Friday. I don't know. We'll figure something out. It'll be fun. We're around. So have a great rest of the day. And thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.